Yes, I shall spare myself the hair and makeup routine today, and happily idle my time away.
Ah, thank fucking god. What? What? Excuse me? May as well. Okay, so to those who don't know, right, so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna upload that video. It's only a few minutes long, but it's basically me having a panic attack because I was put into the beginning of the game. I thought my account was deleted, and that was quite frankly not good for my heart. That happened only a few months ago as well when my freaking other laptop, my previous laptop, fucking imploded just a few months ago. Turns out though, I just accidentally picked the wrong server. And you know, servers don't share your account. So, holy thank fucking fuck. I actually downloaded the Hoyo Lab mobile app to ensure that my account was still there. So it was. So I had to figure out what else could have been the issue, and thankfully it only took me a little while to figure out that I was on the wrong server. Oh my goodness, anyway. I get an early break time because one teacher is lazy and the rest are sick. Which is good for everyone involved, technically. Anyway, there's supposed to be a way to do the login rewards here. Where is it? It'd be nice if you told me how many I'm still missing. 66 anemoculi, 131 geoculi, 181 electroculi, 195. Jesus Christ, ex it just keeps exponentially growing, huh? Well, not really exponentially. Are there over 200 hydroculi now? Genius invocation. There it is. Chuck in. May as well use this, you know? So they still think Aloy exists. Of course, her birthday is April 4th. That is just some incredibly bad luck. Of course, I doubt they're ever going to
My
rerun
waistband has
her.
been feel-
Because of legal reasons, most likely. And that's another bad thing with live service games, I suppose. Right, I finally have time, so I may as well do my...
Feeling a little snug these last couple of days. Methinks I perchance have overindulged.
I don't need to do any more domain runs, technically. I guess I'll go do some bosses.
Observe!
Ow, okay, that still hurt. A lot.
Don't waste my time.
Fuck.
Your life is mine. Delicate as silk.
Fuck.
Let's go. Think you can bully me? Strike is one, and step. It's nothing.
Yeah, I definitely still much prefer. Because Ningguang's very reliant.
Observe.
Ningguang's very reliant on her skill
Give up.
to work well. Oh, sure. Now, I forgot.
Let's go. Don't waste my time. Give up. Shake it and stir.
But it's really easy. Alright, so Diona follows standard ICD for her shield breaking. That's pretty interesting. Every 3 hits, or after like 3-ish seconds, give or take. But since her hold version, I mean, it's a really low amount though. 5 IC pots, so it's... Wait, what? But that was like 3 separate damages. I don't know. Anyway, Ningguang not good for bossing. Cause her skill is so damn inconvenient. And to get the most out of her burst, and literally every other part of her kit, she needs that skill. Whereas Lumine can get away and honestly would probably prefer not having any of her Geo rocks thrown out. Oh yeah, the crystal fly trap. I'm gonna skip the event. Let's keep playing as Yunjin as this team, I suppose. That daily commission sucks.
Barbara is one of the free characters that everyone receives in Genshin Impact, and she's often a staple healer for many early and mid games. When it comes to challenging harder content, however, she's almost never seriously considered as a viable option outside of simple routines, and I am certainly guilty of this myself. After giving her a fair shot and testing her with every single character that made sense to test her with, I can say with confidence that Barbara is very underrated, and depending on what your account looks like, might actually be a great pick for account. Let's talk about whether you should build Barbara, and how to make the most out of her if you do. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we've built and tested every character to help you decide which one to build. Barbara is a 4-star Hydro healer. Skill reduces damage and applies Hydro to yourself, enemies, and character. Reverse is a full team of very large cost, but this full team by healing stacking characters will also be a great choice for you and a few other things. there. Her normal attacks have decent scaling, which allows dedicated to use her in roles, but really her bread and
I guess I
butter
can try her out in floor 11.
healer. Her skill, although normally character, also use her normal attacks with the team like one further prowess for the team's technique. She's actually a character that's fairly a constant 0, with her constellations definitely helping her, giving her some extra energy, using her skill cooldown, small hydro damage, the active character, more healing, more energy, more healing, and a revive C6, which you shouldn't be. But it can be nice if you make a big mistake and have to die. All in all, she's a character that works perfectly fine at C0, but her constellations are more common to play and build. Her kit is pretty simple, so I think we'll delve into Pokemons and other differences with So for the teams, I want you to know that not only is Barbara but I've also tested other relevant comparable characters, namely other on-field healers, especially the likes of Kokomi and the likes of Dory. And I gotta say, I have really underrated.
Yes, I've been in the Spiral Abyss before. In fact, I've 36 started game.
Untapped potential in the meta, and I don't think it's like all my fault or anything. I think a lot of people aren't talking about it because most people are obviously used to using DPSs on field. Like it's not your first instinct to all of a sudden pull your Navia off the front lines or take out Raiden and put your Barbara on instead. Put your Chi-Chi on instead. Obviously, I think Noelle has been talked about a lot, and that's because she's primarily a damage dealer. But she's also a healer, so people think, oh, she'll deal damage, she'll heal, etc., etc. But Barbara really, really surprised me. Like, it honestly shocked me how good
I'll try her in bottom half.
And the reason why is because off-field damage dealers in Genshin Impact are extremely good. It's really unfairly balanced, to be honest, because characters like Yelan, like Chiori in the right circumstance, like
we need
Yai, like
the team I'm using
Beto,
is mostly
like
just
these characters do
for
almost
the convenience
as much
of
damage as
Overworld.
on-field characters, but from completely off-field. And so normally this is balanced around.
I
well,
need a different
most
team.
buffers really can only buff the on-field character. Like maybe not most buffers, but a lot of buffers. Like Bennett only buffs the on-field characters. The big one that I can think of, even someone like Shen Yun, like she only buffs the on-field plunging character. Characters like Farzan do benefit everyone.
I guess I can't go wrong with the Xiangling Bennett core.
Farina really strongly buffs
this team would objectively be stronger with Ningguang. With Navia, though.
Losing out on damage because you're running Barbara on field as your healer, because you need to run a healer with Farina, that's just the reality. But running the on-field healer allows you to run the last slot instead of having it be a Charlotte or a Jean or something else that heals. You can run Kazuha, and as a result, not only is the team's damage potential very, very high for a single target, but the team's AoE performance is extremely good as well. And Kazuha himself does good personal damage, and Farina's good personal damage, Yelan does great damage, and even Barbara, obviously she's not doing great personal damage, but she's on field and healing and doing Ocean Heat Clam damage, and it's not bad, she's contributing. But the overall team is honestly one of the better teams. Like, it's one of the better teams in Genshin. I prefer Fischl for AoE because the Electro Charges are just so good. Like, Electro Charge is back in a big way, and I feel
if I didn't
like
get Ningguang, but if I didn't get Navia, but I did get Chiori, this is probably
I prefer the Fischl version.
Ningguang probably would have been. Well, actually, I still would have
this
still
team
been using Noelle.
utilizes Farina Kazuha, which everyone should be getting, and then you have Nahida for the second side, or you have Bennett for the second side. So it still leaves you with a lot of resources for the second side. And Barbara and Fischl are free characters, and everyone should be getting Farina Kazuha. Like, these are characters that free to plays everyone should be getting. So this is, I know it uses 2 5-stars, but it is a free to play friendly team because the 5-stars it uses are characters that everyone should be getting, and it still leaves you with Nahida and Bennett for the second side. Nahida or Bennett. You can play Barbara in a Hyper Bloom team, but I feel like her Hydro application is just kind of so I would recommend running a second character like Yelan, and in that situation it's like, yeah, you really should run Raiden to actually make the most of the team, but to be honest, like, Barbara is not really doing anything here. Like, the team is self-sufficient with the get the 3 slots, so Barbara is just a foregone conclusion. You can, if you don't have another Hydro, you can definitely use Barbara, and do something like this, and it does work. Like, I did 36 star the second side of the Abyss with this. Like, of course it works, and yes, you can replace Nahida with Dendro Traveler, blah, blah, blah. It's just not something I'd recommend. I just highly recommend her with Farina. It feels way, way better. It's a really, really good team. A bunch of people have also talked about using Barbara with Neuvillette because Barbara has seemingly some synergy. Her Constellation 2 gives a 15% Hydro damage bonus, and by running her with Neuvillette, you obviously get the Hydro Resonance. The problem for me is that by using a Hydro with Neuvillette, you're losing, 35% damage bonus. So you are slightly compensating for the loss of 35 damage bonus with a 15% Hydro damage bonus, but it's not worth overusing a different healer like Charlotte or something like that. So I don't strictly recommend Barbara with Neuvillette. It can work, but I don't particularly recommend it. You can also do Barbara Plunge. I tried it. I didn't love it. I mean, it does work. If you want your Barbara to do damage and not be a healer, you can use Barbara Plunge. Go for it. But I personally don't like it very much. You can use either Kazuha or Xiangling here. I would say if you have, this heavily scales off of how good your Shanyan is. Like, if your Shanyan's really well built and she maybe has her weapon or her Su2, then this team can really, really pop off. But as it is, like Barbara, she can vape, right? That's the big thing. She can vape with her plunges.
Oh yeah, I still haven't gotten Refinement 5 catch. I should do that.
I like the Farina healer stuff better. And then you can obviously use Nilou, and Nilou is really, 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 really good. Barbara is one of the best units. She's barely a downgrade to other units. I'll talk about the comparisons versus Kokomi and stuff in the next section, but Barbara is a...
Quiet now. Things are about to get dicey. Busted.
Nahida is a
Nice
character
and
again.
spiced. Your grand finale.
Call it, you get
Unleash.
3, and Barbara you get
As a good night show.
That's it. This is
Leave it all to me. Can you?
But this team for the second track. So Barbara kind of has two teams that work with two different types.
Observe.
And this
Here comes the catch. Gotcha.
And then she doesn't
Break a
feel
leg. Observe. Time to clean
she
up.
does feel very cold, but she's not feel cold in Arena or as you said, call it. You can use Rara one where you walk around Rara at volume skill. I just double heal on the wild.
Quietly now. Gotcha.
But I really
Things are about to get dicey.
you can also use Phase Barbara where you can make your charge.
Strike is one. Observe. As a dutiful maid would. Steady as stone. I'll catch you.
But in general, it's something you can do, but it's not that is but it is something you can do. I just think it's a bit more stuff.
Wow, Noelle Hyper Carry really sucks
So
there.
should you actually build Barbara? Is she working? Let's talk about her. I built up my
Your
and
life is
actually
mine.
built up her normal attacks, burst, levels, and stuff like that.
Shower me with
So that I
praise. Let the world come alive. Let's dance. Ready, steady, go.
And if I'm being completely honest, for both
Don't waste my time.
and or Farina teams, I felt like Omi was just like up. I feel like Barbara was like 90%. I
Submit.
didn't promise Barbara, and
Give up.
I personally was going to allocate my resources in terms of value. I would
Let the show begin.
team with Ayaka, and Ayaka freezes
It's not.
every unit. I still think you could
Give up.
resources away because she does good damage.
Delicate as silk.
She is very expensive and
Lend me a hand.
very cheap and very
Don't
strong.
waste my
I
time.
would prefer
Kinda has severe energy issues, not gonna lie.
both teams
This is not a good team.
like this. I would rather play Barbara for an official Kazuha in any AoE content than Ayaka.
Yeah, I think
Versatile.
Xiangling Bennett was
Except
the
for
best
obviously
choice.
Hydro and Demon content,
Sure,
but
let's just go ahead and try that.
Then Cry would be because Freeze Teams only deal crowd damage, whereas this at least does some electric crowd damage. But I will say, like, to the Kokomi lovers out there, Kokomi is an upgrade. Kokomi has advantages in healing being better, the damage being better. The heals really actually, I could say the heals are better. Barbara's heals are incredibly good, so the heals aren't really better. But the damage is better. Kokomi just does more damage, and her Hydra is like a little wider. Her, her shark attacks are like they've got a special animation. They stagger you. So Kokomi definitely is like a quality of life. I mean, like and it feels to me like a 10/10 damage. At best, maybe it's closer to 5 for the whole team. Because really, obviously, for the rest of the team, but Kokomi is very confident. So, how, like,
Strike a pose! Time to shine!
but
Here comes the catch.
that's all.
Quietly now. Gotcha. Your grand finale. Time to clean up.
Apply Hydro to yourself. And you can say, that Big Brian.
Quietly now. Things are about to get dicey. Let the world come alive! Break a leg and step,
Charlotte.
as a good knight should. Leave it all to me.
One might say, well, this is a huge downgrade. And you but the team is so
Busted. Game's up. Fun's
so
over.
high that it just doesn't matter. Like, the amount of damage that the Barber team does, it's like, and it just it does it so effortlessly and so easy.
Everybody
Like,
stand back.
positive visual and lacking on.
I am the cutting edge of fashion.
I would recommend.
Give
I
up.
don't think it's like a
Your
top
life is
edge,
mine.
obviously, but I also
It's
think
nothing.
there's something because there is a pro to Barbara over opponent that wants to stay on the field once you lose reversed, but Barbara whatever, and
Let's light it up.
positive skills.
Going in.
That's kind of cool.
Don't waste my time.
Get more positive
Submit.
skills. It's a lot more.
It's nothing.
Feel attached to you.
You're toast. Nice and spicy.
Barbara's high she has lots of names.
Let's light it up.
I didn't like a little bit less than it is, and
Don't waste my
what I
time.
always said was the biggest
Give
problem.
up.
If they start putting more Dendro Immune or Cryo Shields in the Abyss, and they have done this more and more, one Dendro Spectre in the entire floor can maybe halt your run if you're using a traditional Nilou team that doesn't use, Yelan or Sanctor or Farina. And that just feels bad. So, I don't like Nilou as much as I once did. I used to think it was like an S tier team. And that's because I was valuing S tier. And now I think
Strike a
it's
pose.
solid.
Time to shine.
But I still think it's very good. It's not like
Quietly.
S tier.
I didn't factor this in. Strike is one.
But overall, like,
As a
I like
beautiful maid woman.
Barbara. I wouldn't say that you should just build Barbara like everything you build Barbara. You've already got a lot of already have, that style set in stone. So they to build. But if this
Here comes the catch. Busted. Let my name echo
Survive.
the song. You have to break a leg and leap. Time to clean up. I must leave no stone unturned.
I still wouldn't put her in like the top 2 teams, but probably one down. So I would obviously they're here with Farina and
Teamwork is dreamwork. Don't waste my time.
official ride in Nalia, etc. With the farmer in those 2 years, but I probably
It's nothing.
That's not and
Holy shit.
I don't know, I think I think a lot of people will appreciate the comfort of using a team like this. Like, Barbara has a ton of HP because you build HP on her. Speaking of which, let's talk about it before.
Strike a pose. Let the world come alive. Quietly now. Game's up. Fun's over. Your grand finale and step, as a good knight should. Leave it up to me.
That balance level for normal. Otherwise, you just focus on the skill first. You don't have to level all that high to get to high.
Gotcha. Here comes the catch. Quietly now. Time to shine. Shower me with threat. Break a leg. Observe.
Better time
Time to clean up.
But if you want more healing, level up for more Shingyo, you can get more bubbles from Kevin. So maybe you
Going in. Let's light it up.
for weapons
Get them.
in general,
Submit.
whether it's or
Don't waste my time.
You're
toast.
or even often
Yeah.
fragments and setting skill cooldown. All of that. Yeah, sacrifice. More protein. Otherwise,
Everybody
obviously,
stand back.
that you have
Delicate as silk.
that will be
Let's go.
and if
Give
you are
up.
using
Your
Big
life is
Barbara,
mine.
like Barbara, like Sin, Skyward Atlas, not really Congress, Casual. Well,
It's nothing.
okay, simply,
Nice and spicy.
like, general guys.
Let's light it while they never miss. Teamwork is dreamwork.
That
Eat this.
means that's probably your
Bubba,
best.
get them.
Okay, but, so obviously they're thinking
Give up.
just like
Submit.
any Shenyan.
Don't waste my time.
And Barbara does have players for this stuff, but if we're talking about
I'm going in. Ah,
they're actually
I am the cutting edge of
are
fashion.
actually it's a Shenyan, not a Barbara. But you can
I was actually surprisingly pretty effective.
artifacts. The Ocean View Clan is your general one to remember, especially when you're playing gilded or flowers for Elu, and it's sort of sliding scale, like
Gotcha. Game's up. Comes over. Observe. Good mining. Echoing song. And step. Busted. Things are about to get dicey. Strike is one. Observe. As a dutiful maid would. Steadiest. Let the world collide. Someone.
What I did on LG, and then it's 530, and then she also
And leap.
did not hit bottom by like
Game's up. Comes over. Strike a pose. Your grand finale. Leave it up to me. Time to clean up. Time to shine.
Close to the
Someone needs assistance.
because you're not really looking for anything on this card. My priming first.
Quietly now. Flags out and step.
And run. So
I must leave no stone unturned.
But unlike Barbara,
As a good knight should.
or like only you can't crit, Barbara can run on those teams. So if you're running on characters that need their burst more, then using
Let's light it up.
reduce that
Nice and
cost.
spicy.
Honestly, this card
It's nothing. Your life is mine.
So that's something
Teamwork is dreamwork. Huh?
reduce that extra cost.
Submit. Don't waste my time.
Barbara believer. Yeah, if you're going
I'm going in.
yeah.
You're toast.
And then if you're doing Dex Barbara,
It's nothing.
two piece.
Ah,
If you're doing charge attack Barbara, you're probably using Hunter's True because you're a Catalyst user. But
If it weren't for the 75% damage bonus, I guarantee you that wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine. But I personally like to focus on the character's intended playstyle, or like bring out the strengths of their kit if that's possible. And because she works so well with Farina, because she works so well with most strengths of her kit
Yeah, I guess I'll do ley lines
so
next.
I prefer to go with that. But there are some very impressive charge attack and plunge Barbara showcases that all over. So I recommend you go check those out. I wanted to showcase Barbara with her strengths and accentuating her strengths. Because if I'm going to call Barbara good, I want it to be for hit that she actually brings, not just that she can be elemental one finish it. For future prospects, I definitely think that there's possibilities for a off-field pyro character that she can apply to allow my friends to play a hydro debate. What else could they do? I'm sure there's other off-field characters that synergize with Arena. I do think that over time, as we get more healers, she
Don't
also
waste
might
my time.
Should still give energy.
So that's always a possibility. Naturally, yes, you would, although running an on-field
Can't handle your drink. Shake and head. It's nothing.
or team
Don't waste my time. Your life is
less
mine.
Barbara Frank, but I think the teams are so strong. Like, it's so much better at a baseline
You can bully me, delicate as silk.
that it just starts with such a high mark that you can't really go wrong if you want to build Barbara up. And then finally, the overworld,
Give
I
up.
think she keeps it
Let me ahead. Don't waste my time.
this pretty good damage from this team.
Shake it and stir.
Oh, no. But she does apply wet status to you.
Break a leg.
Which is like, but
Give
other
up.
than that, you did. Let me know your thoughts on Barbara. If this changed your mind, if you're gonna build her, I was
Yeah,
honestly
this
surprised at how strong
team doesn't have enough
shocked. I'm really shocked how
gauge
much better was the consequence.
to one cycle.
Take care. I don't know.
Don't waste my time. Give up. Fire. Think you can bully me? Don't waste my time. Diana special. And step. Give up.
God damn it.
Thrust of current. Scatter. Shake it and stir.
There's something a bit strange about Metroid Dread. This is a full-on Metroidvania. It takes place in a sprawling, interconnected, and far of a world. To scour the map to find Samus's various abilities, and then backtrack the world.
Your grand finale. Unleash.
Barriers.
Let's go. Don't waste my time.
Explore
Admit.
and navigate.
Give
And
up.
unlike some games in the franchise, there's no one telling you where to go. Figure it out
Unleash.
for yourself. And I'm not sure
I am the cutting edge of fashion.
for myself. When I played
It's no
Red, I seemed to just magically end up in the right place, and I and got lost for more few minutes. How on earth does that happen? How is this game both linear and non-linear at the exact same time? Something fishy's happening here. So I decided to play through the game again. This time, true boss key style.
Yeah, I don't think I'll use Ningguang even if I get her C6.
And what I realized
Just with Navia, I have no reason to do that.
behind the scenes,
Apart from the fact that she technically synergizes better with Chiori.
to essentially run through the game, to pull you through the world of Planet ZDR like you're tied to an invisible rope. So in this video, I want to show you these techniques, these tricks, that make it easy to find the way forward, hard to get lost. I'm Mark Brown, this is Box Keys, and this is why you didn't get lost. Metroid Dread. Check out this tiny bit of level design. Samus can squeeze through this gap by using her basic built-in slide. But at the other end, she pops out of a hole that's slightly above the ground. That means she can't slide back through, and whatever's on the side of this gap completely accessible until much later on when she finds them.
Oh, I'm max level!
It's a point of no return. Now, Metroid Dread is absolutely full of these. We'll drop down
Right.
places when you can't jump back up.
Whatever.
Slide down hills that are too steep to climb. Flop into water to swim out of. Step on giant fidget spinners, off reverse access. Walk through giant doors that lock tight behind you. So on, so on. So what's the point? Well, I think it's about combating the Metroidvania problem that I call the ever-expanding explorable area. And it's basically this. At the start of a Metroid game, you are restricted by your abilities to a tiny part of the map, which means it's not too difficult to find the path forward. Like after you get the missiles in Super Metroid, you can't figure out where to go next, which literally only 13 to check. But as the game goes on and you uncover more and more of the map, the explorable space grows and grows. Once you find the power bomb in that game, there are well over 100 points accessible to you. Finding the path forward can be an overwhelming prospect. That's why it's called an EA. That's the sound you make when you realise the scale of the task ahead of you. Now, in Metroid Dread, you start the game in Altaria and travel through a whole bunch of different areas, including a large maze-like enemy zone, a semi-submerged cave system to the west. Then you get the Phantom Plug. If we're not sure where to use it, do we need to check every single room in Altaria? Because if you travel in the wrong direction,
Cowberries,
you find that this whole section of the map is actually completely inaccessible. 3 passageways are too tight to squeeze through until you have the multiple. And in one room, the fiery part has inexplicably appeared and it can't without the ice missiles. So it means your explorable space is actually pretty small. And this is something that happens throughout the game. At points throughout Metroid Dread, the designers temporarily offer a small segment of the world map. This makes it easier to find the way forward because you've got a small part of the map in mind at one time. Your cognitive load is pretty small. It also makes it very difficult to get lost because when Metroid Dread wants to, it can physically stop you from too far from the direction. For the most part, though, you never even know it's happening, as these points of no return seamlessly appear behind you. Okay, so Metroidvanias are about finding abilities, the game's keys, so to speak, and then finding the place where those abilities are needed to make progress, as in the locks. Now, most games in the genre sprinkle the locks and keys all
This
over,
realm is
forcing you to zigzag back and forth across the world. You might find small in Fendrana Drifts, but is used to unlock an area all the way back to Chozo Ruins. Now, here's the world map of Metroid Dread's Planet ZDR. I'm going to put the location of 13 of the game's 22 abilities on the map. And now, I'm going to put the location of the routes where those abilities are needed to make progress. So what you'll see is that in all of these cases,
If you ever have it-
it's just around the corner from me, literally in the same body. So, get the bomb, it's part of Dairon, and use it a few
May as well try it once. Let's see if I can get some good arcade Petra. Then I'm gonna farm for 4 piece for Ningguang as well.
Get the cross bombs, and they're essentially next door. This is surely intended to help with memory, because if the lock is somewhere you visited very recently, it's still in working memory. While those rooms you visited at the beginning of the game, they're not forgotten. So placing the locks close to the keys makes it much easier to make progress. But it goes a bit further than that. Most Metroidvanias, there are usually many locks for each key. Get Desolate Dive in Hollow Knight, and now you can smash through a whole bunch of floors all over the world. Typically, only one actually provides the way forward, while the rest will lead to optional pickups, secret bosses, or just another locked door can't open it. That's not always the case in Metroid Dread though. Like, once you get the Plasma Beam, it's not like you can now open loads of locked doors all over CDR. In fact, once you get back out of Elan, it's one door. The entire world locks behind a plasma shield, which is, yes, the place you need to go next. By reducing the number of locks you need to remember, the game makes it easier to find the correct path. Now I should say this is definitely not true for every power-up in the game. That would be a good counter-example. The world is
Actually, the new set is also pretty darn good. God dang it.
Find handy pickups, collect stuff you can't use right now, like this Powerbomb resource in Catarus, and even get very early access to the game's optional power, the Pulse Ray bar. So that is technique 2. Metroid Dread makes it easier to find the correct path by reducing the number of locks for each key. The most important lock, the one that will lead you further along the critical path, close by. But I did say that this is for 30 of the game's 22 abilities. What about
That's
the
just
other
for
nine?
skill damage, and this is just for normal and charge attack, so...
Catalyst.
Oh,
This leads through here, back in Artaria, which lets you find the Varia suit. Then the Varia suit is needed back in Catarus to withstand its superheated room. That's more like classic Metroid, right? Bouncing back and forth around the world. And it's not the only time that happens.
I
You
do
get Space
love
Jump
Spina di Rosula's
of
logo.
Corellia, and need to
It was
use in the
designed by
depths
my
of
mother.
Millennium. You
Have
get
you
the
noticed how
Sword
it's shaped like a heart?
Artaria, and needed to smash through blocks in Gavora. These blocks and keys are spread out across the world, sending you zigzagging across the planet. That is, if it wasn't for the game's fast travel system. So when you get the Morphle in Catarus, the most obvious place to use it is here, just around the corner in the same bio. On the other side is a teleporter, which sends you to Artaria, right next to the Varia suit. You're then led back to the same teleporter, which sends you back to Catarus. And, wouldn't you know it, you're just around the corner from the superheated room that requires the Varia suit. How fortuitous. So, sure, the Morphle and Varia suit may be miles apart from one another, but this teleporter essentially puts them right next door. And it's the same for those other lock and key pair-ups I mentioned. The Space Jump unlocks a teleporter to Berenia, and Screw Attack gives you access to a nearby teleporter or warp to Gavora. So even if the lock is far away from the key, Metroid Dread still makes it easy to make progress by giving teleporter exactly the right spot. Plus, this also has a nice additional consequence that makes it even harder to get lost. So, as I said, after you get the Morphle, go left and find a teleporter to the Varia suit area. But let's say you go the other way. You go right. You travel by foot all the way through Catarus, take the elevator down, and travel all across Artaria. Eventually, you end up in this room, which is the other end of the teleporter and the location of the Varia suit. As I said in the Hollow Knight episode, having multiple routes to the next part of the critical path is a really good idea. It's much easier to make progress because you now double the chances of the player finding the way. And that's what happens in Dread.
Ooh.
If you go left after finding the Morphle, you get
Ooh.
the Varia suit. If you go
Ooh.
right, you get to the Varia suit. Same either way. Remember the bananas in the Donkey Kong games? Those tiny collectible items that you want to pick up? Well, level designers know you want to pick them up, so they can use them in all sorts of ways, like showing you the right route to take.
Ah, this is a goblet.
Teasing you
Fuck.
discover shortcuts and secrets. This is a technique.
Oh my god, this would have been so
My dad
great
used
for
to be
Navia.
that carrying
Or
an
not
unreliable
Navia.
weapon is worse than not carrying one at all.
And Metroid Dread does this a lot. After you get the Morphle, you're tempted to go through here and a missile upgrade. Then draw up here with another missile upgrade. And then up to get this energy tank, which leads to the Varia suit room. Once you get the speed booster, you'll want to smash through this wall to get to the energy tank part. And once you get the flash shift, you'll want to come back to this room to get this energy tank, which happens to be right under the door next part of the game. After you get the screw attack, you're tempted to head left, pass through the screw attack box, and get a missile upgrade, which guides you to the elevator back to Berenia. Here, you're tempted to head left by screw attack blocks and another treat. And then moving upwards by more screw attack blocks and yet another treat, all of which leads you to a teleporter and the place where you need to use the screw attack to progress the
I
game.
love
So
Spina
even
di
though
Rosula's
screw attack
logo.
is found in
It was
Altaria,
designed by my mother.
where
Have you noticed how it's shaped like a heart?
and by a bunch of breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs don't have to be upgrades like the enemies on the other side of a pool where you to blast through hidden blocks. And these small fireflies are just a visual effect that to hang around the doors you need to enter to make forward progress. Anything the game can do to grab your attention and pull you in the direction of the critical path, do it. So, I think those are the 4 main techniques that Metroid Dread uses to make it easy to find the path forward and hard to get lost. Point of no return. Travel small sections of the map to reduce your cognitive load and stop you from going the wrong direction. Putting the locks near the keys means the way forward should always be in your working memory. And if the lock isn't nearby, there's probably a fast travel teleporter to get there. And tempting breadcrumbs are used to guide you well from one ability to another. There are some other techniques too, of course, like how these lights form a design language to suggest where you should use the spin boost and space jump, or how memorable landmarks lodge in your brain and tempt you to return later. But those are the big ones. And for the most part, these techniques are very effective guiding you through the game. I can watch back the footage of me playing through Dread for the first time, see me falling into every trick and trap that's been engineered by the designers. It's hilarious. Of course, it's not going to work 100% of the time. You can still get turned around, not know where to go, get stuck in a room, and blame it a crime to game design. And contrary to the clickbait title, yes, you can get lost. While the points of no return often belong to small areas, there are other parts of the game where the world is much more open. And tricks like breadcrumbs may not work every single
I
day,
really want to
every
go
single
traveling.
time. But
I
by
don't
and
mind
large,
where we go,
these techniques
as long
do
as I
work
have my
to
friends with
set
me.
on track. The question then is, are they evidence for good? Do they make the experience of playing Metroid Dread better or worse? Now, first, I should state that all Metroidvanias use techniques like these to help you find your way. And Dread
Oh, sure, the
has
instructors.
use straight to the point of no return, found in multiple places in Super Metroid, such as this one-way door in Brinstar, this massive drop-down.
Well, anything I have not locked probably aren't any good anyway.
Tedious and annoying. So ultimately, it's more down to their frequency and intensity. And yes, Dread uses them often and quite aggressive. But ultimately, what you think of these techniques will come down to how and why you play Metroid games. There are those who play Metroid games primarily for the action and
I
atmosphere,
do love
and are
Spina di
less
Rosula's
interested
logo.
in the
It
exploration
was
aspect.
designed by my
If
mother.
that's the case, then
Have you
Metroid
noticed how
Dread
it's shaped like a
the
heart?
feeling of exploring a large, interconnected world, but with less risk of getting lost, and without the need to get bogged down, tedious backtracking, and map reading. And on top of that, you'll find a game that is alarmingly well-paced, a whirlwind tour of different abilities, biomes, and ancient boss fights where you're always making forward progress. Then there are those who play Metroid games primarily for the joy of exploring and navigating a complex spaghetti mess of a world. If that's the case, then Metroid Dread can feel rather patronizing. At some point you'll realize that you don't think too hard about navigation because the way forward is always pretty obvious. So you can stop thinking so hard about this stuff, just let the game skew off to the next stop. It's guided tour. If you care about navigation, that's not much fun. Plus, when it comes to exploration, you find yourself attempting to break out from the critical path to find items to be rebuffed, it's no return. So you may not bother. Now, optional goodies and secrets, the game does open back up. Instead, critical path. Then there are those who play Metroid games multiple times. If that's the case, then sure, Go and Dread may be guided by an invisible hand, but subsequent adventures are about deliberately fighting against that hand, using the movement technique to break out of the game sequence.
I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me.
Bombs before you're supposed to, then insta-kill Kraid in a special cutscene. Now, for me, personally, I'm not really into sequence breaks too funny. While I really deep action and atmosphere of Metroid games, my favourite has always been action and exploration. So, as much as I loved Dread's combat and controls, I did feel a bit let down by the game's world design. I wanted to figure things out for myself, but just stopped trying until we got to the end. I wanted to explore, but
My
felt
time with the
like points of
Spines
no
taught me
return.
that
So,
carrying an
anyway,
unreliable weapon is worse than not carrying one at all.
But I wanted to feel to this world the same way I feel about Hallownest, Zebes, and Gordran. That didn't really happen. So that's me. What about you? What was your experience on Planet ZDR? And what sort of Metroid player you? Let me know. Comments down. Thanks for watching.
I do love Spina di Rosula's logo. It was designed by my mother. Have you noticed how it's shaped like a heart? I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me.
I need one more crit rate substat roll. Oh, I might get it. Dang it. Internet issues again.
My time with the Spina has taught me that carrying an unreliable weapon is worse than not carrying one at all.
Come on. Yes! Good enough, I'd say.
I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me. I do love Spina di Rosula's logo. It was designed by my mother. Have you noticed how it's shaped like a heart?
I can get rid of Ningguang's old sets, I suppose.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
Source! My source is I'm making a fart job. It's often something that's an afterthought for most games. Let's get done.
My time with the Spina has taught me that carrying an unreliable weapon is worse than not carrying one at all.
Some game mechanics that will either change how you do it, or just straight up changing how the player interacts with it. In a world where it's becoming stats and stuff, times you have to shoot this guy, or games you can share some of the best examples. So you just to give the player to try out a new experience. Also talk about some not so great examples. So let's get started, shall we? Space 2 is a decent challenge on its own. Space 2 still holds a couple tricks and just keep going. Now, the ultimate challenge lies is in its hardcore. It's modern with the stronger enemies, less enemy drops. It separates this mode, LCD, right? Saves 3 states for the entire. Space 2 has a total of 15 chapters and 2 long 3. Takes the average player out.
Oh. Dang it, of course. Whatever, at least I have 80% now. Almost 80%.
I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me.
Dead Space 2 tries to kill you at every possible chance. Chapter 1, Isaac has to face off against this try button. Now it's Chapter 1, so it can kill you. Except it can kill you too. It's not like that's the chapter. So it's really like cheating tossed through a train car. So upside down. Deal with it. That will just outright kill you as it gets close. And try not to get sucked back into space, resulting in is dead. This is all before Chapter 5, that goes first saying, and it's worse than first. So, Harry started to do much. Game's usual attack is so scary.
Yikes.
When the very least, at first rate, hardcore mode, checks that. Unthrough set pieces or jump scares, but instead through gameplay. It's more at risk now. Time. Without the safety of checkpoints, every encounter could be the encounter that sets you back 5 hours. Kill Isaac and not to walk turn. There's even a mandatory sequence near him where
I'm gonna go have lunch now.
Isaac